4th of July in St. Louis in 2017, and while most of America is celebrating with fireworks and barbecues, the Peabody projects in St. Louis are about to witness a different kind of explosion. At around 11:30 p.m, gunshots rang out on the 1400 block of Keelty Lane, right in the heart of the projects, and as police would arrive on the scene moments later, they would find 29-year-old Tiger, real name Brian Mitchell, with a gunshot wound to his abdomen. He was later rushed to the hospital, where he would tragically succumb to his injuries, and in the aftermath of his death, the Jecks would take on the name Tiger Town in his honor, a name that the hood is still known by. Tiger's death was a significant loss for his hood, which is why he would become so memorial.
Ain't it crazy how Chicago influenced every city in America to name their hoods after fallen people? Like, it just amazes me every time I hear something and they be like, oh, this is such and such, being a whole nother city. Yeah, this is such and such world, this is such and such, like, you know, it's crazy how the Chicago drill scene influenced every city in America. It's just crazy, but you know, we finna get back to the
realize. But unfortunately, in the grand scheme of things, it was just one victim in a decades-long war between two hoods, which is one of the most infamous in the city's history. This is the war between two hoods, the first one being the 14 Jecks, aka the Jecks or Projects, located in the Clinton Peabody projects in the neighboring houses, who identify with the number 14, which comes from the 14th Street that cuts through their hood, as well as the 1400 block where the projects are located. This hood has also been known as 1400 Brick City, this name logically coming from the red bricks that the projects were made of, with members still repping this name proudly on t-shirts. The second hood is located right across Old Route 66, this being the 1100 murder side, aka the Murders or New Houses, the 9 Deuce Bloods, who particularly rep the intersection of the 11th Street and Hickory Street in the LaSalle Park neighborhood, where the LaSalle Park Apartments projects is located, as shown by the rapper C4 Murder in his vlog with TJ Films.
Explain where we at though, where we at right here?
Right here in the murder side.
Murder side. Murder side. This the county or the city?
This is the city, we downtown St. Louis.
So we downtown.
On south side, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
yeah.
So this downtown, like, also like it's like on the borderline.
Yeah, like we right in the middle, near the bridge.
So who all around her? What all the hoods? What's around y'all?
Projects, shit, across the street.
The projects.
People on Reddit are particularly interested in this conflict, with posts commonly asking about the current score between these two factions. While some claim it's hard to know because both sides are commonly claiming bodies that aren't theirs, the roots of this conflict can allegedly be traced all the way back to the early 1990s, when gangsters from Los Angeles first touched down in St. Louis, with an Inglewood family gangster blood member, OG Scoop, being allegedly the one to transport the Bloods to the Peabody projects, while the LA gang culture was also spreading to the neighboring projects, including the former Darst and Webb buildings and the neighboring LaSalle Park Apartments, which were also known as the New Houses, as they were built later than the projects in the Peabody-Darst-Webb neighborhood. During this time, these projects were transformed into Blood and Crip strongholds, linked to gangs like the Inglewood and Bishop Bloods, as well as the East Coast neighborhood and Long Beach Crips, turning the area into a gang war zone that is fueled by a feud that still burns today, even after 2 decades. While it's not entirely clear how the war between the Jecks and the Murders started, first-hand accounts from locals confirms that it goes all the way back to the 90s.
And Tiger brother, big brother Lil Greg, he got killed over in the New Houses. I don't know which one happened first, but I know that the New Houses tried to slide on the Peabodys, and Fetty ended up getting killed.
To put the multi-generational effects of this war into perspective, LeGreg, who was killed already in the 90s, was allegedly the older brother of Tiger, killed in 2017, as well as allegedly being the uncle of a later Jecks rapper called Born Thurl-Leesky. Over the years, the sliding between these two hoods became what seemed like an endless cycle, until an OG finally stepped in to squash the beef.
You know, like, that was in the 90s, and then they was just going back and forth. The Peabodys and the Murders were just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And my uncle, you know, he got to that, like, y'all ain't finna keep doing this. This little kids out here playing.
Right.
So he made them get in the field. He took they, you know, told them no guns. He's the only one that had a gun, and he made them fight. And after that, everything was cool.
Around the same time, the Peabody projects became associated with none other than Demetrius Flannery, better known in the streets as Big Meech, the leader of the Black Mafia family drug empire. Meech and his brother had started their drug business in Detroit before building one of the largest drug trafficking empires in American history, taking over Atlanta and moving thousands of kilos of cocaine monthly across 11 cities, including St. Louis. In the loop, Meech's main contact was a man named Dion Gatling, better known as Cuffy, who was a Peabody Projects native and used the locals to run his day-to-day operations, as explained in the Brighter Side of Blue podcast by a former officer from St. Louis who was in charge of investigating the Cuffy's Peabody operation.
One of the things we're trying to do here is kind of flush out how the BMF started and how St. Louis played such a pivotal role in it. And one of the things that I think is really interesting is what level were they at when you were dealing with them in the 90s? Were they, was it organized? Was it not organized? Were they street guys? Were they already moving, 20, 30 bricks?
I think when it first started, when I was involved with them, they were the street guys. They were the little guys doing it. And then Cuffy kind of was like a businessman. Cuffy never was involved with touching the dope. He was never involved with what that I knew of.
Okay.
With as far as the gun part of it, that was always Kevin Gayton and his other guys. And I think Cuffy treated it as a business. Right. And then towards the end of my involvement in the Peabodys with them is when Cuffy gets hooked up with the Fish House guy, Jerry Brown. And I think that's when it started to grow. And then later on, when I was in intelligence, is when I found out that Cuffy was hooked into the BMS.
All of the money coming in made the peace between the Jecks.
That's crazy, because I knew, like I said, from, I knew that BMF, and Big Meech, went to St. Louis. He said he even got cribs out there, in St. Louis, one of, his places, he was, running that stuff through, as you can see. That's what they were saying, but that's crazy though. I ain't know how that's how it started.
And the murders, not only preferable, but extremely profitable. As well as into the 2000s, members from both sides even crossed lines and formed joint cliques, with many of the older members still apparently holding close friendships.
Our generation, like even to this day, our generation still, I be over the new houses every day. I be on the murders every day.
The younger generations too were seen pictured together as teenagers, but like often with gangs, the peace would only be temporary, and eventually the newer generation would bring the war back bloodier than ever. While on the music side, both hoods would also produce numerous rising stars who would represent their side of the rivalry in the St. Louis drill scene, including rappers from the murder side like C4 Murder, who began rapping after Rondo died in 2017.
I wasn't even out here all the way in it till like Rondo died. When Rondo died 2017, that's when I started really knowing who is, moving around and getting out the hood.
C4 would go on to release hits like Summoned Slight, Locked In, and Murderside Island that have all gathered over hundreds of thousands of views. There's also Pistol P Presto, Mally G, and Robbo Murder. While on the Jeck side, there are rappers like Jizzle Bucks, PYG Wayne, Bornthal Leesky, PYG Ches, Big Reg Waller, and Lil B. Over the years,
ain't it crazy like how these niggas be getting millions going viral, bro, and they don't know how to like benefit off of it? Like 600,000 views on YouTube pay you about 5,000-6,000, maybe. You feel me? Like, it's crazy how they don't know none of this. Like this, they just rapping and put out their music and basically just diss their ops and just rap. But they don't know the actual benefits of this, and it's crazy how they don't know this. But
the drill scene would gain enough tension that even the late Chicago drill legend King Von would connect with members from the Jecks during this time. But both sides would also suffer tragic losses that would fuel the ongoing gang conflicts, with Murderside losing members like Rondo, real name Anton Butts, who had been shot in August 2016 and would finally succumb to his injuries in March 2017, and LeJohn, real name John Frost, who was shot and killed in February 2017, while the Jecks would lose Tiger in the incident that would arguably blow the war between these two factions back wide open. However, it was 2 years later that a new major explosion of violence came, and this time it was triggered by the music. In September 2019, PYG Wayne and Bornthal Leesky from the Jecks will drop a track called Terrorist Attack, where they would take shots at a whole host of Opps, including of course the murder side, as they would take shots dissing their dead members like Rondo. The track would turn out to be a hit, racking up almost 1 million views on YouTube, but at the same time it would also put a huge target on their back, and just a few weeks later, police would respond to gunshots fired in the 1400 block of Hickory Lane in the heart of the Jecks. Upon arrival, the rapper Bornthal Leesky, real name LeBaron Jackson, was found shot in the back of the head and pronounced dead at the scene. The loss of the talented drill rapper was a huge hit to the Jecks, but even more painful was the way that he allegedly died, as Leesky was rumored to have been accidentally shot in the back of the head by one of his own gang during a shootout with the Opps from Murderside. This would give Murderside all the ammunition they needed to mock the Jecks, with the rapper Robbo Murder even posting a reenactment of Leesky's death on Instagram.
Man, I
However, it would allegedly
not
take
even-
only 3 days for the
I'm not
Jets to
even
have their
amazed
revenge plot in motion. On the 22nd of September 2019, in a neighborhood in North St. Louis, miles away from the Jets and Murderside territories, 2 men drove by a house before parking their car behind it and then approached the front porch where they would open fire at 2 people, killing 29-year-old Elliot Massey. However, as the GoFundMe page for Massey would later reveal, he was allegedly an innocent victim, killed in a shooting meant for someone else. Moreover, the murder was captured on surveillance video, and only days later, 18-year-old Sanchez Swink, better known as the rapper PYB Chez, was arrested and charged with the murder of Massey, later receiving a 22-year sentence after pleading guilty to the crime. But the violence wasn't finished. In 2021, another rapper from the terrorist attack song, PYG Wayne, would become the final direct casualty of the chaos that his own song had unleashed, as he would be found dead near a bullet-ridden vehicle, this becoming yet another murder to take place right in the middle of the Jets, which helps to explain how the Peabody projects would in 2024 be labeled as the second most dangerous neighborhood in the entire country. The feds would later get involved in the investigation of Wayne's murder, and in 2024, the shooters were eventually identified and indicted, not just for murder, but murder for hire, with one of these suspects allegedly being a rapper known as Boo Driller or Boo Man, while the second suspect would allegedly be a man known as Peasy, a member of the legendary St. Louis drill crew AMR, or Ammunition Money Respect. While the murder side may not have been involved in the hit, at least not directly, in the end, the violence and chaos that the terrorist attack song had set in motion had claimed its final victim. But that hasn't unfortunately stopped the violence, and more recently, as mentioned earlier in the video, the Jets have become heavily affiliated with the 48 Shreve Hood from Northside, a hood that has suffered tragic losses over the years, which is reflected in the many names that it has, such as PJ Gang, Justo World, and Botway. The Jets would also become close with the cliques affiliated with Shreve, like Back Pocket Gang, and together with these different factions would create an alliance called 1448, which has brought wild cards like the rapper Mo P, who identified as EBK or Everybody Killer, into the mix, further turning up the beef with Murderside. The intensity and organization of this alliance was captured in a menacing TJ Films hood vlog showing 1448 members patrolling their territory while openly displaying heavy artillery. They would also explain how the 14 Jets are Bloods, while 48 Shreve are rolling 60s, which makes 1448 a Blood and Crip alliance as well. Unfortunately, it was only a matter of time before this alliance proved very dangerous. In May 2024, the murder side would begin to apply pressure on 48 Shreve, dropping a scathing diss track called Purge on Shreve, where they would diss their dead members like Curry B, PJ, and Justo. In the summer of 2024, the rapper C4 Murder from the murder side would allegedly slide through the Peabody projects with his girlfriend shooting at 1448 members before running off and leaving his girlfriend behind, later taken to Instagram to brag about his mission.
I just burnt downtown up, gang on John. C4 John Wick is my son, solo dolo. Faking 1448K on my son.
Meanwhile, Mo P would respond back and claim that C4 had dropped his phone on the drill before telling him to shoot back next time. What Mo P didn't mention was that this incident was allegedly a get back to C4 having his Tesla shot up by 1448 members about a month before. Interestingly, on July the 6th, the same date as the alleged shootout, St. Louis police would indeed respond to multiple calls about suspects shooting in the Peabody neighborhood, and after arriving at the scene, they would end up chasing and detaining 7 suspects on foot before confiscating several firearms. A day later, C4 would post a video allegedly showing
how do all 7 of y'all get caught? Like, real life, like, how do y'all get caught? I just, like, it just seems to amaze me. Like, niggas just get caught. First of all, I'm going to address the dude. How you taking your girlfriend on the drill is crazy. Shorty, then that's how innocent shorties be getting hit. Girls be getting hit. Because y'all want to be sliding with y'all boyfriends. And, like, but how 7 of y'all get caught?
A 1448 member, Ray Waller, in what looked like hospital, as someone can be heard telling him to stay out of the streets.
Come on, do your homework, Mr. Ray Waller.
Hey, stay out the streets, bro.
On me?
Show you.
Stay out the streets is crazy. He must just got popped up or something.
Meanwhile, the online detectives on the St. Louis drill subreddit would create theories that Ray had been a target of friendly fire, just like the incident that allegedly killed the rapper Leesky. As mentioned in the earlier section about Mo P, the back and forth between 1448 and Murderside would continue afterwards, with both sides being spotted in each other's hoods, armed to the teeth, and a video would even be posted online of another alleged shootout aftermath, which shows supposed 1448 members running away from the scene.
Bro, it's like 80 of y'all. And that's at least 8 of y'all, right? What the
In the past few years, there would also be a surprising beef between the Murders and the Six, who used to be very close, with particularly the Murderside rapper Robbo Murder dropping numerous songs with guys like KB6, Hothead Capone, and Nudie Six. But this alliance would unfortunately come to an end, leading to numerous back and forths on social media, where these former friends would exchange disses towards each other.
What makes you think my views come from y'all? What the? If anything, we turned y'all up.
Y'all never turned us up, gang.
I can't even say
with each other hard, bro.
I can't even say I turned you up because, bro, y'all was
each other, bro. That's it. That's all. That's all we gotta leave it. Like, yeah, the murder side and the Six locked in. You know, that's all they do, gang.
You making it sound. You making it. Look,
nobody.
Make it look. Look on the bud, cuz you on this in the scene like y'all turned us up.
I never said we turned y'all up, cuz. I'm telling you, gang. Listen to. That's what I said. You go make it.
My engine too loud. My bad. What you say?
You go make. You make.
Like I said, I told you, everybody just knew we each other good. I said we dropped some hard shit together, gang. That's all I said, bro. You make it up and you go tell people it's fake. That's why it's going on right now.
Let's get this shit popping, okay? Let's get it rocking. All these you got on live the same peace treating in my inbox on Richard.
Oh, not Bonu on KB.
First off, you ain't paid for John, you never paid for me no clothes, no nothing. You don't got a cap on live about you trolling.
John, piss me the
because you a fan. C4, you be tripping, man.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
Fake, bro, get your song. You know what's up for real.
God,
you a core, nigga. Oh, real.
Now you know I wouldn't let nobody dish out, but y'all be doing.
You ain't never captured. You ain't never touched no book. You can't drive water to save your life. So what you doing on real?
Man. So why they going at each other?
I'm out here right now on real. We can, man.
He got LeBron high. I ain't gonna lie.
No,
Nudie talking high. Nudie ain't got no hood. Nudie ain't got no hood. Nudie ain't got no hood. Right now. He block hopping, couldn't he? Where the they all together with y'all.
Thankfully, this beef hasn't turned deadly so far, and at least for now, it seems that the violence in St. Louis overall may be winding down considerably, with crime in the city being down double digits during the first half of 2025.
St. Louis City crime data indicates a decline in crime. Yeah, they've been looking at that data. They said this happened in the first 3 months of this year. The city reports the lowest number of homicides since 2005. Homicides are down 45%, robberies down 20%, burglaries 33%, and auto thefts down 39% year to date.
But while things may be looking better at the moment, history shows that they could go left at any moment, which is why security cameras were installed around 11th Street, with C4 Murder claiming in his interview with TJ Films that it's wartime on the block.
What about the cameras? They had them cameras up over there.
Boy, you niggas do any type of murder, y'all is gonna get caught immediately.
One can only hope that Mo P, C4, and all the other rappers mentioned in this video who are still alive will end up having long and successful careers, but in all seriousness, for that to become reality, likely the most important decision that they could take is to leave that city that made them. Because it's dangerous for a rapper to stay in a city they came from, and perhaps nowhere is that more true than in St. Louis.
Man, them little niggas going damn near viral and not even taking advantage of it. They ain't serious about their rap career. Y'all like and comment and let me know your thoughts on the video, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.